All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. All right. We're here with Queen Isis, who is an author, and it has a new book coming out, and it's called Surviving 18 Years of Slavery. And she is here right now. I'll pull that mic up to you wherever you pull it right up to your, you can pull it out towards you. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Get right up on it. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Got to get right up on it because it's super sensitive.
How's that?
Even a little more. Pull it towards you. Pull it towards you.
Let's go for it.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
All right. So you've got this new book coming out, which is exciting. We're going to talk about that coming up in a second. Let's start with the what the community is talking about and the latest on what's going on. What's the latest with you?
Latest with me, I sort of, as far as like the
Keimani
situation, I've been kind of stepping back, allowing the family to organize what it is they need to get organized, make any final decisions before I tap in and do it. Hey, how's everything going? Is there anything that you guys would like me to share? But as of right now,
you've been put it right in the middle. You've been in contact with the family the whole time. You were one of the people that was there first, helping look for Keimani when we didn't know the outcome. So you've been there from the beginning.
Pretty much so. I allowed Keimani's picture to kind of surface around for maybe about a day and a half, and then it was sent to me personally in my inbox. So I was like, okay, let me share this. Let me look into what's going on, not knowing, the situation was as crazy as it was.
Mm-hmm. And then like you with me, it's just we want to get this child peace, get her buried and everything. I talked to Grandma yesterday. Grandma said that the body is at the new funeral home. They're going to be making announcements today on what the new funeral arrangements are going to be, and she said she'd know by about 3:00, and she would let me know all that information. And then after that, I mean, I just don't think we're ever going to get there's people that are trying to piece together the story from the past, and mom this and grandma this and this was said and this was said. I just don't know how, you and I were talking out there. I don't know how constructive that is. I mean, to me, it's just, we know you said it perfectly off the air. You said grandma has, what did you say? You said, grandma didn't get the child, didn't take the child from the house. Grandma didn't kill the child. So we need to focus on this man, this monster that did that. And then, and that's kind of, I'm the same way. I mean, let's focus on that. It's going to be, she said, I don't think grandma's going up for grandma of the year. I don't think mom's going up for mom of the year. And we can say it was not a great situation, I think, all the way around. And a lot of adults around her failed her. But I just think doing all this is just, I don't know. It's just, I call it like murder porn, almost. Like, it's you're for what reason? You're not going to find any. We know the answer. This man took this child. This man killed this child, and this man is in custody. Other than that, I mean, we're just speculating.
Yeah, and pretty much giving ourselves headaches trying to figure out any other details as to what was going on inside the home. Yeah, they've exposed, Children's Services, were reached out to multiple times. We know that there is a history from grandmother, in her past. But as of right now, I think the main important thing is to get this baby laid to rest, and let everything kind of unfold on its own, because it's going to.
Right. Yeah, and you can, and for me, like my focus is, like I said, just I have a guy that reached out to me over the weekend. He follows me and he says, "Look, I'm gonna pay for whatever needs to be paid for that the funeral's not going to pay for. Because I want to do it anonymously. I want to take care of it so this baby has peace. So I think that's where the money that's collected, hopefully the Brown Memorial is going to forward it all and to the new funeral home, and everything will be kicked in the rest, and then my guy is going to be a safe. So we don't need to be collecting any money or anything like that.
And I also had a resource that was willing to do the same thing, go ahead and cover the expenses for it. But as of right now, like I said, I'm stepping back, kind of letting
Yeah.
the family do what it is they need to do, giving them some space and some air to breathe, and then I would, follow up within the next couple of days.
Now, Queen Isis, you've kind of been an activist in the community here in Toledo for a minute, and I became aware of you with the Soul City Boxing and the Rashawn Jones and the Otha Jones situation. And I know a lot of people have reached out to you as far as we're alleged victims, and did that kind of spur you, or had you always been doing stuff like this?
So originally I started with Crime Survivors with Safety and Justice, volunteering with their group, doing candle visuals for victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and gun violence, doing the marches downtown in Columbus, for our legislative branch to get our other trauma recovery centers here. And I work with Anton Park Sr. behind doing that, who is over our chapter here in Toledo. It was something, it's something that I knew that I needed to be involved in, a part of, not so much with it being starting with Ocean, but just it being a part of my life. I ran from it. True facts. I moved to Georgia last year and was back here within no more than 3 months. As if I'm like, God, why? Why am I back? Why do you have me back here? And before I knew it, Ocean came up missing. And it made me kick in the skills that I obtained from CSSJ, as to advocating, as to, building that support for victims. It Ocean really stood out, but when it hit closer to home, when it became a family member who had to reach out to me and tell me their story, I don't know. I took off then.
Because during the I was called Soul City Boxing event, I know you put yourself out there. It's like, hey, victims, if you feel comfortable, come to me, and a lot of victims did.
They did. They did. We got a lot of success behind a lot of the safe haven meetings that we were having. We got a lot of people down there to Detective Hunter to make their reports. He's interviewed a lot. So he said we have a lot of good momentum going behind it. But the last conversation I had with him, which would have been within maybe 5 days, he said that he's kind of like wrapping things off, and getting to the end of everything. He was finishing up the last couple of interviews. So we're hoping that, he does his due diligence behind this, the prosecutor's office does as well. And, our victims can get justice behind it.
I'm so glad you said that, because a lot of people were wondering. It's like, was this all for naught? Has it been, it's been a couple months now. Why are they not in handcuffs? Why is not things happening? But again, within the last 5 days, you've spoken to the people in charge of this detective and prosecutor's office. So it's coming. Things are going to come.
It's
hopefully.
coming along. It's coming along. What I believe is happening is, I feel like he gets to a comfortable point where, okay, we might have made it somewhere, and then another victims come forward. And I know within the last 5 days, an interview was done with the victim. So he's still getting victims coming in, either making police reports or doing interviews with them. And I'm like, why stop? Why try to round it up now when more people are coming forward? So it's a matter of patience right now.
So we as a community don't want to get frustrated. They're behind the scenes. Things are working when it comes to the Soul City Boxing situation.
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
I do believe in, like I say, all gas, no brakes, fire under ass. I do believe we have to keep the heat on them. If we do let the light of it dim, they will try to sweep it under the rug. If for 1 second they think that we're distracted by anything else in the community, they will sweep it under the rug. So right now, as everyone sees, I've been very, very busy with life, not only helping the community, but taking care of my own personal life, But when this is all said and done after this book release, I mean, all gas, no brakes, fire under ass. We need that gym shut down because they're playing in our face. These are men who think on a military level. These are men who practice the 48 laws of power. These are men who think on a whole different level. So when I see them playing in our face, some people are like, "Oh, they have the gym back open." Let's be honest. These people play mental games. So this could be a video that they took last year sometime that they're posting, making you guys think, one, that they're open, and two, hey guys, we're accepting kids again. Don't fall for it.
Wow. It's crazy. And then so the Ocean Jones kind of put the spotlight on the Soul City boxing. I don't think without Ocean, I don't think that this would have happened.
Without Ocean Jones, none of this would have happened.
None of this would have
It would still be the same day by day generational curse going on. That gym would still be up, fully function, 75 plus kids in there. There would still be victims somewhere, souls hurting behind this. You know, we wouldn't be this far if it wasn't for Ocean and many other victims that decided that, hey, she stepped up, she spoke up, I am going to too.
And then, what do you think of this Richard Brown situation? I don't know how much you've been involved in that, but the reason I brought up is the Ocean brought the spotlight on Soul City. Well, Keimani brought the spotlight on this Richard Brown, who is the Brown Memorial, and there's a lot of things coming out. I mean, not only the stuff that we know for sure in 2008, where he pled guilty to a misdemeanor for having young boys come into town, and
let's quote it right, he pled no contest, which is still a ruling of guilty in the courts.
Absolutely. He pled no contest to a misdemeanor. They dropped it down from a felony to a misdemeanor, and more is coming forward. I mean, I'm conducting interviews this week with people that he's up to no good. What are your thoughts on that? Have you followed that at all? Have you been too busy? Are you going to turn that way at all?
I'm tapping in and out of it because again, it's a lot. So originally, when Ocean story came about, there was other stories that got dropped on me. One being some of the pastors, another one being allegedly Frank White, the other boxing coach. There were other men around the city that were being accused of molesting women, but at the time, I pretty much let people know, like, hey, we're going to touch base on that, but I got to keep focus. I got to keep heat on this. I'm not ignoring you. It's just as important, but I didn't want to take the light off of that until prosecution was made.
There's no way to keep heat on 10 things. It's just
exactly
you can't. You have to.
If you notice,
pick and choose. You got to pick and choose. Which is like for me, the focus is it's I think CSB has some answers. I think I've been this Richard Brown thing is going to come to head, and then the Soul City boxing. Those are three things that I think we need to just focus on. And
those are just the ones that you know of,
right?
We have attorneys downtown in municipal court who has been brought up. We have it's getting.
What is wrong with people?
It's getting big. I'm going to say big. I don't want to say out of control. Right. I see what it is that people are trying to do. The only problem that can occur with all of this is you have victims who, and let me just say, I'm going to use the name John. John touched two girls when they were between the ages of 12 and 7. John gets a little bit older. These girls grow up. John gets a hold of a 16-year-old girl who is at consent age to deal with an older man. That 16-year-old girl speaks up, but now she's bashing him. She consented to that versus the ones that were under the age between 12 to 7. It waters down their case when you're speaking and bashing them and putting all of this stuff on Facebook.
Because you had a bad relationship with someone that you chose. I mean, look, there's no doubt that someone's not fully formed at 16 when you're dealing with a 30-year-old. But legally, that's different than if it's 5, 7, 9.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's making it a little bit difficult on their behalf, because if that between 7 and 12-year-old did want to prosecute or go after charges, then they're going to bring up this video from this 16-year-old who had everything to say to the public about this man. So how much does this really weigh in court? So that's where it gets sticky. We don't want to take any credit away from any victim at all,
right.
But we have to start separating. And I think the groups are a dangerous thing. I mean, that's why I really didn't hop on it the first time when Ocean was missing, I had one young lady make a group for Ocean, but I really didn't hop on making a survivors group for the Soul City thing because it can get messy. And not only messy, it can get unsafe. You have people who are making fake pages. Roshan Jones, I blocked at least 6 pages from
Wow.
TikTok to Facebook, just clearing out. I don't want them to have obviously no contact to me. So I'm blocking out all any type of source of communication that they can have. And when I see all these fake pages and duplicate pages, like this happens every day. So it becomes unsafe for victims. I feel like we have to come up with a more organized way to do it. If you are a victim of sexual abuse, if you have been molested as a child and this is your time to speak up and you want to pursue charges, you have to go about it the right way. Facebook, don't get me wrong, it's bringing awareness, but you have
Hmm.
to go about it the right way.
What about these people though? Because I've had a lot of people message me, and I bet you have as well, that they don't know who to trust. Like, especially in the black community, they're protecting these guys, whether it's a pastor, whether it's a boxer that's big in the community, whatever. The community's protecting them. They say their family just wants them to shut up, and the city is dealing with these people, giving them grants and things like that. So, and then the media is and the police department are dealing with these people, and the media and the police department are in bed together, and people are scared to come forward, and they don't know who to trust.
And that's when we need that's when we need our chief of police and our mayor to be making a speech, identifying who it is and our authorities that we can trust. I mean, that was something that was raised really big when I was dealing with the Ocean situation. We didn't know who to trust, so it took for
Hmm.
me to actually get on feet, step into the police department, go into the different precincts, gain eye contact with these people to say, okay, either they bullshitting us or they're not. Either they here to help us or they're not.
Mm.
And it was some that I was just like, yeah, I don't want to talk to you.
No, yeah.
I'm not gonna have any dealings with you. How do I get around you? And it was some that's just like, hey, we here to help. So as of right now, you have Detective Hunter who is not giving me one reason not to trust him yet.
Good.
Um, he's everything he said he was going to do as far as calling these victims in, interviewing them, getting their evidence, and getting their statements. He has done. He's provided that safe space. You know what I'm saying, and that protection for victims. So I can't give him that. Toledo Police Department Downtown Safety Building has been working hand in hand. There's a couple young lady officers down there. They are very hands on with us. They believe in us. They want to help us. So
Wow.
they're open to making reports for you. But again, it's about if you're gonna if you're if you are willing to speak up and you want something done about it, go file your police report. Get in contact with these SVU detectives, Detective Hunter being one,
Hmm.
and please do not put any of your evidence on Facebook.
Mm.
That's all that I ask. Do not put any of your evidence on Facebook.
Wow. Your new book is called "Surviving 18 Years of Slavery." Your first book.
This is my first book.
What made you decide to write it?
Ooh, years after years after years, I was told after coming out of foster care that I needed to write a book. You've been through a lot, write a book. And I'm like, yeah, okay. That's just like, people telling me, oh, you're so you're beautiful, you're chocolate, you're tall, go be a model. Yeah, okay, whatever. So I lost my son during birth in 2020. I remember my best friend Tara taking me to Virginia Beach, and I took the picture that's at the bottom of my book, in the mirror. I had looked down at my body. I had looked in this full body mirror, and I had just told myself, like, it's over with. Like, you're done with. Like, you're destroyed. Like, look at you. They cut you open, and I had a big scar from the emergency C-section. And I sat down, on my knees in that position, and I took that picture. And I told myself when I left Virginia Beach that, I had a completely different plan. Let me be honest. My first plan was they did this to my body. I'm going to go do nude modeling.
Take the power back.
I was trying to take my power back. I remember telling all of my family, my friends, I was going to do this. And they're like, okay. So then I got to another point when I got back home from Virginia Beach where I was like I have to do something for with myself because I felt like I was, eventually going to die from a broken heart or my son passing. And one day I sat down at the desktop and I started writing. I said, this is it. Like, a matter of fact, let me be honest. I'll take that back. I have to rewind it. My jaw got broke. And when my jaw got broke, I really felt like it was the end of the world. It was 8 weeks after my son passed, 4 weeks, well, 7 weeks after I had his funeral. So I was like, this is it.
How did your jaw break?
That's a whole nother. My jaw got broke at a gas station due to a parking spot.
Mm.
Somebody was, I would say, out of their mind, high, maybe drunk,
Mm-hmm.
and got upset about one of the pump parking spots that I moved out of for them.
Mm-hmm.
And broke my jaw. I think it was a matter of trying to break me down. A lot of people knew me to be a very strong individual, especially from where I come from. I'm known to be very strong. I'm known to be a fighter as well. So I think it was a matter of trying to break that ego in me down. I had gotten into a fight, I want to say 4 weeks after my son passed away. I was losing my mind after my son died. I didn't know how to challenge any of the energy that I was feeling. So I had gotten into a fight 4 weeks after, and then 8 weeks after my jaw got broken. I think that was him trying to prove a point. But you were a man that did that, so hey. But after that happened, obviously I'm talking through wires. Got to drink protein drinks and can't do much. But I then felt like, this is it. I'm over it. I'm done with life. Like, if I don't find something to do with myself, like, something bad's going to happen to me. And I sat down at that desk
and wrote this book.
And I started with, my name is Ieisha Darrington.
How long did it take to write?
It took me 4 years to write my book.
Really?
When you're writing about trauma, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. I had a good run. I want to say, let me see. I had a good run in a book my first year. I want to say.
It's funny. You use 4 years. It's about 100 pages. You do like 25 pages a year.
Listen, I've broke keyboards. I've broke monitors. I've broke mouse, all behind writing this book. I used to suffer from severe PTSD. I feel like I'm a survivor of PTSD. So throughout going through the grieving stages of my son, trying to figure out who I am and where I'm going, and trying to write this book and trying to live life, it was hard. Like, I'm trying to be normal one minute. I'll go sit down and type on this book. Next thing you know, I'm angry. Again, breaking monitors, breaking keyboards, like shoving chairs into the desk. Like, it brought a lot of emotions out of me because I was reliving it. And no matter what cause it was for, I had to go through it.
Take us to the point where you wrote the last line in the book. What are you feeling?
Oh, so the last part of this book came after Ocean was found.
Really? Oh, so it's written
I finished the end of this book within the last, let's see, we were going into April. So I finished the end of this book in March.
Wow.
Yeah, once Ocean was found, once I knew she was safe, she was with her sister, and I knew, obviously the soul shitty stuff was in the air. I was like, you got to finish this. But not only did I tell myself that, I spiritual, I prayed, hey God, what's next? What do you need me to do? He said, you need to finish that book. And I'm like, okay. But I'm like, well, if I finish it now, I might be rushing it. He like, you got a week. So I'm like, wouldn't that be me just cramming everything in? All right. So I waited all the way to day 6 of that week. I did. I waited, and I looked at my husband, and I said, babe, I want you. And I paused. And he asked me, he said, you going to ask him, you going to wait for somebody to give you permission to start something, or you going to wait to have something? When have you ever waited for somebody to tell you to do anything? Like, when have you ever done that? And I literally paused mid in my sentence of him. And I was like, never mind. And I got up and grabbed the laptop. I was on my laptop about 8 hours to about 2 something in the morning. And when I got up, I finished that last one. I said, I'm done. And I looked back at it. I was like, do you feel like you're missing anything? Did you feel like you rushed it? And I felt complete. Like, I got the word, it's complete. Like, this is it. This is all that I want to share, because there's a part 2 to this book called From Chains to Currency. So it talks about from the shackles to how I bossed my life up.
Wow. So this one here is surviving 18 years of slavery is from birth basically until the age of 18,
Hmm.
and all that you went through, the foster homes and all that stuff.
Foster homes, group homes, the streets. I talk about, oh my, I talk about incest inside of the family, how it started there first. I talked about being trained as a trained as like a pit bull. I talked about being trained as a slave. Um,
What do you mean?
just from guardians and family members, that would take guardianship over me. I had one who, that's how she raised me. She's the one that got a hold of me first. She just raised me as a monster. Locked me in basements and uninsulated porches, beat me with, any object that could come to mind to her,
Hmm.
and would only let me out sometime to discipline the other foster kids, like jump on them and beat them up and stuff. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And then from that came AOL, Yahoo. I will never forget when Yahoo came out. I will never forget the box screen TV. I mean, the box screen computer. Once that came out, I believe I was probably about 5. That's when it's like it felt like an alarm went off. Like, hey, look at her. Here she is. Here's your bait.
Mm.
She was almost like, and I hate to say it, but she was almost like a catfish to some men. Like, she would lure a man through this AOL and Yahoo on the chat site, and then she wouldn't be who she would say she was.
Mm.
And then it was like they would look a lot around like, well, what can I get? And it felt like I was always that target. Because when I did get older and have conversations with the other foster kids just to see, what they felt like they experienced, they never spoke on it. They never spoke of, they spoke of like my uncle, because I talked about everybody.
Mhm.
I'm going to be honest here. And I talked about him in an extent to, can't nobody sue me, okay? Can't nobody sue me, but I spoke. Like, it's a lot of my family members who are going to hate me after this book. And like I said with a smile, I don't care.
Right.
Like, I don't care.
Was it when you're with your husband now? How hard has it been for him?
Ooh.
I mean, you were broken, you were damaged. How hard has it been for him, and how much does it make? How do you feel about him?
So I finished the book first, and I went upstairs. I told him I finished it, and then a couple of days later, I sat down at the dining room table and I was like, "Hey, babe, there's some things I need to tell you." Because obviously my first copy.
So there's things in the book he didn't know.
Exactly. One being that when I first met my husband, I told him that being due to the trauma of people bashing me so much about my past, like I would open up about my PTSD and the things that caused it, and then they would like traumatize me with it, like
Use it
torment.
against you?
Yes, they would torment me with it, all the way to like chasing me in vehicles and stuff across fields, like. And I already know I'm full blown in PTSD episode. I don't know where I am, what's going on, but like, so I got tired of that. I got tired of it. So when I got with my husband, I was like, I'll tell you some things. I've already told him maybe 2 or 3 things, but I was like, I want you to get this version of me. I want you to get used to and learn this version of me, because I'm no longer her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That is my past. I'm Queen Isis for a reason. I am Ieisha, but I'm Queen Isis for a reason. And I'm still working and building on Ieisha. When I finally hand over this throne to my daughter to be Queen Isis, Ieisha is going to be fully equipped. You know what I'm saying? And ready to take over the world. But I had to, I introduced him to Queen Isis. I didn't introduce him to Ieisha.
So that's a kind of a protective layer, the Queen Isis thing.
It definitely is. It's the soldier that I built in me. That's exactly who she is.
And then how has he dealt with that?
So again, going back to after I finished it, I had to proofread my book after my editor was done. Let me tell y'all, self-publishing your first book, please read it over at least 2 or 3 times. I only read it over once, and I went into episode. I got to, if I'm not mistaken, we were me, my sister, my best friend. Those are the people that I rely on when I am in a PTSD episode. I went through the numbness of the face, the mouth, the feet, the nonstop. I think I cried for maybe about 12 hours straight. You could not get maybe 3-4 sentences in with me without me crying. But we scaled it from like 1 to 100, how I was feeling. I think I got high as 25, which is amazing compared to how I used to get.
Mhm.
Again, they diagnosed me with severe PTSD
Mhm.
back in the day.
Mhm.
So to get to 25, that was amazing. I brought myself down. My husband, he kind of just sat back and let me go through my emotions. He didn't fight it, which was a good thing, you know, especially being new to it.
Mhm.
He didn't like dog me or anything about it,
Right.
because I know some people who would like conflict against it and make it worse.
Was he the first one then that didn't, like you said, throw it in your face or use it against you, or?
Well, after I came out of that episode that day, I had to sit down and talk to him
Mhm.
and tell him, like, baby, it's about to be some things you about to read in this book. He was like, well, before I open it and read it, you tell me. And I told him. I
And what?
mean, my husband works for one of a nice plant here in Toledo.
Uh-huh.
Um, and a lot of people in there know who I am. So I'm like, when this book get out, this is it. Like, most people would be embarrassed to talk about the things that I talked about in this book. But again, I'm Queen Isis for a reason. I'm a soldier. Like, this is what built me. This is what made me so forward, tough, and so strong. So, like, once I gave it to him and told him how it was and what he may run into and may hear, he was just like, okay, well, I kind of wish you would have told me a little bit earlier, but he respected it and 100% bags me behind everything that I do. When I get in those days where I'm like, babe, I can't do this no more. Like, I just want to move. I want to delete my Facebook. I'm like over it all. I don't want to sell any books. Like, I don't want to do anything. I'd rather go work for a hospital. He's like, no, your feet are already in. This is what
Wow.
God built you for, and this is what you signed up for. So I got you.
Wow. Well, the book is called Surviving 18 Years of Slavery. And Queen Isis, where can we pick it up?
So Amazon has an ebook copy of it. I do believe you have to have Kindle bookstore in order to get it. It's on there. We have the paperback copy that should be uploading by the end of this week. I went and fixed the problems that they were having. But if you cannot get a paperback copy and you would like one, you're in the city of Toledo, I am more than willing to meet you to give you a copy personally signed by me. I am also having a book release this Friday, April the 4th, my mother's birthday. At Bertha May's Kitchen on Summit. It is right next to WTO Will downtown. I will be there from 1 p.m. to I put till 6 p.m. But the way these books have been going, I kind of have a feeling that I might sell out. And I don't think my other package of 50 books will be here in time. So that's why I made yesterday my deadline of getting them out personally to those who could not make it to the book release. But
I'm going to make a suggestion for a friend of mine that had a book, Ginger Z. She, one of the hosts on Good Morning America, she has stickers. So she would sign the sticker and give them to people. So when the books do show up, if you send to them, then they can just put the sticker in the book, so they still have your hand signature and they have your hand thing.
Gotcha.
But if they don't have the actual book and they show up and the books are gone, if you have some stickers there, you can sign those.
Absolutely,
and give them to them.
I'm gonna look into getting that done. That sounds like a good idea, because I did ask myself, like, what are you gonna do when you run out of these books? I'm like,
someone asked, how much are the books?
My books are $30. That's personally from me. Amazon has it posted for $35 for both ebook and paperback.
And then, so how do we get a hold of you to get the book?
Queen Isis the Big One Smith on Facebook, guys. I'm not going to put my phone number on here.
Queen Isis the Big One Smith.
Also, if you like to use email, my name is Ieisha Smith 2023 at gmail.com. It's spelled just exactly how it is at the bottom of the book. Yeah, that's the way you'll find me by email. But yeah, Queen Isis the Big One Smith on Facebook. Inbox me. Let me know that you've either watched this live or you're coming to get a book.
Awesome. Thank you, Queen Isis, for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all you're doing for the community. We'll be in touch a lot, I know, because there's a lot of stuff coming up. So I appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Queen Isis.